at what exactly has gone on in the past few months. I mean, see, from January to this point, we understand that at this point the prices are dropping for the stocks. Some people, I mean, the gains are not coming as much as they were earlier this year. And we want to look at all of that conversation this morning right here on the show. I have in studio Emmanuel Boateng. He's been joining us over the phone lines for a long time. Today is here in studio to give us a very good presentation on the stock exchange, really. And he's here already. Ima, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Hinshabi. I'm doing very well. How are you doing too?
Yeah, I'm doing well too, by God's grace. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'm happy to have you in studio today.
It's not true that I've been off studio for a long time. I mean, I was here. I've been here very often.
Very,
very often.
Where very often means what?
Yeah, I mean, you see me like 2-3 times every month. You know,
2-3 times.
Yeah, every
last month were you?
Okay,
Yeah,
I was
you were
here.
here last month.
I'm always here.
This month, can you not be here?
Yeah, I just
apart
feeling
from
to,
6 months that you came.
So you said I've not been here. Now you're saying I was here. You see, you just not been realizing that I've always been around.
Anyway,
I'm always around.
So today we're talking about, I mean, we're getting into the stock market conversation, and you're going to give us your presentation shortly. But I would want you to start from what exactly the Ghana Stock Exchange, I mean, what exactly it is, where it came from, and all of that. But let me just let our listeners know that we are streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH, and you can visit ZFMGH. We have, I mean, we're streaming live, and so you can watch. You might come to do a presentation right here in the studio, and I would want you to tune in on our social media platforms. On YouTube, we are at Z Multimedia. You can visit our YouTube page, and then you get to actually see exactly, because we're showing you some pictures, we're showing you some images, some stats, some graphs, and all of that, so that you can actually make sense of what we're talking about this morning. It's not going to be too technical. I'm sure you're going to get it, but I want you to see the visual so that you can relate to what we're talking about. So if you're in your car and you're probably listening on radio, maybe you have to come online and join us there so that you can see exactly what we will be talking about. All right, so Emmanuel Boateng will get into all of that. Ima, so where do we start from? What exactly the stocks?
Yes,
what
so
exactly the Ghana Stock Exchange
let me
is?
respond to that, and then after that I'll return to my slides.
All right.
You know, the Ghana Stock Exchange was established 36 years ago. I don't really know how old you are, but I'm quite sure the stock exchange, the Ghana Stock Exchange, is older than you. Way older, yeah. So in 1990 it was established. It is our principal stock market located right here in Accra at the City House on the Liberia Road. Just in case you are listening to us and you want to go see for yourself if truly the Ghana Stock Exchange can be found somewhere in Ghana. Yes, it can. It's in Accra on the Liberia Road. If you want, you can just come. I'll take you there. But I mean, on the Google map, you'll find it. Okay. And if you were not born in 1990, please, if you were born after then, the stock exchange is older than you. And so that is something you must note. But I just want our listeners to think of it as a marketplace. Typically, when we say a market, we mean an arrangement that brings sellers and buyers of goods and services together. Right. And this is a financial market. You know, and so what are we talking about? Instead of buying tomatoes, instead of buying fabric or something like that, you are actually buying ownership stakes in real Ghanaian companies and multinational organizations. And that is what the Ghana Stock Exchange represents. So there are different markets within the stock exchange itself. We have the, you know, we can talk about the main market, which is large for established companies. Then we have the Ghana Alternative Market, which we call the GAX. You know, that is for smaller growing companies. And then there is the fixed income market, where typically your T-bills, your government bonds and others are traded. Now, there are two benchmark indices on the Ghana Stock Exchange. We have the Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index, which is the GSE-CI, which tracks the performance of all the listed equities or the listed companies on the exchange. Then we have the Ghana Stock Exchange Financial Index, the magic one, which is the GSE-FI. tracks only banks and insurance companies or companies within the financial sector of the country. And I think both of those numbers are going to feature heavily in today's discussion.
You'd have to go through again. You said there's
GSECI, Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index, tracking all companies listed on the exchange, all of the equities, including those in the financial sector. So everything put together on the Ghana Stock Exchange is the Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index. And then we have the Ghana Stock Exchange Financial Index. It tracks the performance of financial stocks, and I mean banks and insurance companies. I mean, there are two insurance companies, which is SIC and Enterprise Group Limited. These are the two, and then in addition to the banks.
These are the two on the stock
market and on the financial index.
Okay.
So usually you can track the financial index separately, and typically that's what happens from the entire market. So it's like the entire economy, and we've taken a certain sector to talk about.
So two benchmark indices. How does
let me conclude. I'll conclude because I cannot end without speaking about the regulator, because the law is one of or maybe the main thing that, as it were, drives whatever we do here in Ghana. The Ghana, as it were, Securities and Exchange Commission is the regulator for the Ghana Stock Exchange. There is a Fidelity Fund, and that exists specifically to protect investors. If a broker misbehaves, sometimes investors are worried. Hey, Charlie, my money. When we get into the discussion, I'll bring some of those emotional sentiments out. So your shares are held electronically at the Central Securities Depository. And trading happens every working weekday from 10 o'clock a.m. in the morning to 3 p.m. in the evening.
That is when the stock market is open for business. So after 3 p.m., it is closed.
We've closed.
And before 3 p.m., before 10 a.m., it's also closed.
But there is a pre-market day, 9:30 to 10 a.m.
But I understand that you are able to still place an order.
Of course.
Before they open.
Yeah, maybe it's high time I went to the
screen. So yes, Iman would have to go to, he's going to the screens now, and he's going to give us a presentation from there so that we can look at exactly what exactly has gone on in the past 3 months or so on the Ghana Stock Exchange. But he's explained so far that it was established in 1990. If you just tuned in, it was established in 1990, and there are several markets that are available. The main markets, which are the large companies. There's also the Ghana Alternative Markets, which is the GACS, and that has got to do with SMEs, and then the Ghana Fixed Income Markets, GFIM, which has got to do with bonds, and also there's Green and Sustainable Bond Markets and OTC Markets. He also says that it is regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, and it runs from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. every weekday. So Ima, now take us into the details proper. Where did we start off in 2026?
Thank you. It's very, very I think I would need a slide to move forward for me. But of course, this is telling us what the performance has been so far. So year-to-date performance on the Ghana stock market is about 55%. In other words, if you invested in all the stocks together, by now your return should be 54.6%. And the market capitalization stands at 255 billion. The truth is that it crossed 255 billion. But the whole of last week and this week, a lot has happened. We've seen a lot of sell-offs. And so this has declined to 255 billion Ghana cedis. And in fact, we are number one ranked in Africa so far.
Before you go on, you said there's been lots of sell-off. I can understand.
You sold something?
I haven't sold. So what I noticed, there's a particular stock that I wanted to buy. I've been trying for so long.
Which stock?
Am I allowed to mention?
Oh, of course.
There's nothing. So GCB.
GCB?
Yes.
Oh.
I've been wanting to buy GCB for God knows how long.
But now you have it.
Yes. Anytime I try, they don't give me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what is happening? So I can agree that, I think that is true. That
there have been so much
sell-offs.
Because those who have gained are making their profits and they are cashing out. And they are selling to you. And then they'll come back. We are waiting.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, let's proceed. Yeah, so this has been the general performance of the stock market. And so far, performance is number one in the whole of Africa.
Is it just 2026?
Yes, just
just 2026.
Yeah, just 2026.
Wow. Number one in Africa.
Yes, number one in Africa. We've beat South Africa, we've beat Nigeria, we've beat Morocco, we've beat Egypt. These are the big guys when it comes to stock market. But I think the performance we've seen so far has been very awesome. So amazing.
I see.
So amazing. Yeah,
so,
we just hope by the end of the year we'll be able to retain the spot. As for West Africa, for some time now, we are always, whether they like it or not, I mean, for West Africa, it's for us. It's the whole Africa that's, South Africa, Morocco, Egypt, they try to, because they are very big markets. Yeah. But actually, the Nigerian market is bigger than ours. Just that in terms of performance, you see, their country is bigger than ours. Yeah. But anytime it comes to performance, we are always there. No, this is not the day for.
But so what does it mean when we say we are number one? So does it mean that? I mean, of course, it means that we are performing, like you said. But would that attract more people to come, like external investors to come onto the stock market?
Of course, sometimes it's the point of traction. People look at the performance, 55%, and they say that no, this market is booming, and then all of a sudden you see people investing. I mean. That is not the best strategy, but typically that is what we see. Even the stock market itself, you realize when it was very bullish, a lot of people wanted to come in. Yeah. And that is why when you wanted to buy your shares, you were not getting it. Yeah, because those are not really the times to actually come into the market. Yeah, so that is it. It's because of this performance. That is why we are ranked number one. Not in terms of market capitalization. No. In terms of market capitalization, we are part of the top 10, not even top 6 or 7. No. Right. We are down there. Yeah, okay. But in terms of the performance so far this year, we are number one.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. So where did we start in 2026? Where were we? What has been the journey that today you are saying that we are number one on the stock markets? I mean, all over Africa. Yes. So where did we start?
Right. I just want him to go. Great. So this was 1st January 2026. Look at the units. 8,770. Is that okay? And the performance for 2025 was 79%. So what we are delivering now is below. Okay, but of course, this is full year. This was the performance. So last year was a good year for the Ghana stock market. But this was where we started from. This is for the entire composite index. And 4,647 units is for the financial stocks. Now look at the performance of the financial stocks in 2025, 95%. Composite index 79. Financial stocks 95%. What I'm saying is that if you had invested on the 1st of January 2025, by the end of the year, if you invested in all the equities on the market, you would have gained 79.4% returns.
If you invested when?
1st January 2025.
2025, last year.
Up until December 2025.
Okay.
This is last year. This is where we have come from. And it's the same for 1st January 2026. So this is where we started from. And this was the market capitalization.
So, just before you move on, I would want you to go very slow so that we can make sense of all the figures that are there. So the 8,770, what does that mean?
It's a unit. It's like... when we talk about the CPI, we also use units before we translate it into percentages.
Okay.
So these unit changes is what usually translates into the percentage. The performance.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on.
All right. Questions. Our market capitalization was 172 billion by the end of the year. Total value of all the listed companies, 172 billion. You remember what it was in the earlier slide? Yeah. It was about 255 billion now. Yes. So you can see the progress we have made, the change in that. And don't forget, inflation was over 54% in December 2022. Today, it's even lower than this. I think the data I was using was peaking at 3.5%. I think inflation is now 3.1 or so, or 3.3.
3.3.
Yeah, 3.3%. So that was the situation. But now you are seeing that things are changing. Now, this is our story. Inflation collapsed from 54% and is now doing about 3% in 2026. It means that the value of our money, our purchasing power is being restored or is stronger now. Right. Money is not losing its power so quickly like it did perhaps 3 years ago. Now look at T-bill rates, or 4 years ago. Yes. I mean, over the period. Look at T-bill rates. I told you yesterday that T-bills were giving investors 28%. And today they are getting 4 to 8% and then they are not too happy. But that is the transformation happening. Today bonds are paying less, today T-bills are paying less, and therefore everyone is running to the stock market. Everyone is coming, and our arms are open for them. CD to dollar, almost 16 CDs to a dollar. Today it's almost 11 CDs to a dollar. So that is, so I'm talking about how things have changed. And we also had debt restructuring. These were all important for what we are seeing today. On the stock market. The same way when all these are not going well, it affects the progress we see there.
So it is not by any supernatural means that we are seeing there. So there are foundational things.
Yeah, there are foundational things. Yeah.
You're talking about T-bill rates, CD, the CD
has strengthened. Yeah. Debt restructuring. Money is in the pocket of people.
It looks like that is the foundation for everything.
Yeah, it was very important. I mean, it's a price we had to pay to get to where we are now.
Right.
And I think it was tough for the government of the day at the time.
Yeah.
It hurt a lot of people. I think I need to sympathize with everyone who went through that. I mean, of course, including myself. Yeah, but it was necessary. It was necessary. I think we can make progress.
Okay, yes, let's make progress. And now, I think there's your next slide.
Yeah.
It has got to do with the
companies.
Share, the companies.
Yeah. What they started with on the first. So anyone listening to me can just go online and check what the prices are now, and you see. Of course, I have a slide that will show that.
Okay.
Look at MTN, Scancom Ghana Limited. It started 4 cedi 20 pesos. Today MTN is over 6 cedis. So you know the change in
the last time I checked, it's dropped. I don't know whether.
Oh, of course, but it's still more than 6.
I see.
Yeah, it's still more than 6.
Okay.
If it is dropped so significant, 5.9 or something, it will not.
I think the last time I checked was on 5.9. The
GCB you wanted to buy was 20 cedis. You know today is way more than this.
That's 40 something cedis the last time I bought it.
Exactly. So that is the reality now. From 20 to the time you wanted to buy. So it started the year at 20 cedis. Exactly. This is the performance. Look at EcoBank, 25 cedis. Let me highlight a few. Carbank was 64 pesos. Republic Bank, 77 pesos. This is in cedis today. Let me take another.
No, that's ETI.
No, Republic Bank.
Republic Bank is 130.
77 pesos.
That is the ETI.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no.
Oh, forgive me. ETI was 77 pesos. Republic Bank was 1 cedi 30 pesos. I wanted to take SIC. Yes, SIC 1 cedi 20 pesos. Today, look at the price.
Share.
Per share. These are prices per share. As at the 1st of January. When you come here, you see Clydestone Ghana, 46 pesos per share. It's about 90 pesos or so per share today. Let's take New Gold ETF 480 is worth more than, this is an ETF, it's an exchange traded fund. It's worth more than 500 cedis today. Let me take another. Cocoa processing, 5 pesos. Today, it's about 10 pesos. Over 100% performance now.
I see.
This is the reality.
Goil.
Yeah, where is Goil? Yeah, Ghana Oil Company Limited, 2 cedi 96 pesos. It's worth more than that today. So this was the prices of each of the shares on the Ghana stock market at the start of the year. This was the situation. Now let me tell you what it looks like.
Very low. Wait, does it mean that the best time anybody could have come onto the market was at the beginning of the year?
Of course, if you wanted to, you could have placed your order. The order would not have been executed if the shares are not available. Yes, but of course, yes. The implication is if you had invested at the start of the year, this would have been your situation. You see, when it comes to stock markets, it's not necessarily about timing.
Okay.
In terms of when you get into it, unless you are in for trading. But it is more about you staying invested. How much time you spend there.
More like what, marriage.
Okay, we can get into that later. We can get into that later. So let's go to the next slide. I just want to point something out. Yeah, you can go on. So okay, maybe he should come back.
Okay, so come back to the slide before.
So this was January 1st, 8,770 units.
Let me just let our listeners know. So we're looking at the rally, the 2026 rally, right from January to March now. That is what we are paying attention to. So if you're listening, I would also still advise that you come on Facebook or YouTube. On Facebook, we're at ZFMGH on Facebook, and Z Multimedia on YouTube. We're doing a full presentation so that you can actually see the numbers, what has happened on the Ghana Stock Exchange. And I'm sure Emmanuel is also going to give us some details as to which stocks to even look at if you want to get into the market today. So if you're interested in stock market investments, then this is actually something that you must actually follow this morning. So please make sure you come to Facebook. We're at ZFMGH, and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Whilst you're following, you are free to also send us a WhatsApp on 0544 321019 0544 321019 so that we can read your messages for you. If you have any question, any comments, feel free to send them to me on those on that number, and we'll look at all of that for you this morning. So Emmanuel, let's continue. So let's look at the rally, the 2026 rally. Really, we're looking at from January to March, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm saying that it's almost doubled. That is why, if you remember, it's about 47.6% or so in terms of the performance so far. So that is how you trace the performance, and it's leading the African market. We can proceed.
All right. And we are the best in Africa.
Of course,
okay.
At the moment.
Right.
Now, this is the situation. You remember I was taking you through some 7,000. So now, end of January. This is end of January. It was 9,006.51. Now, financial index 4,932.42. So this is the performance for January in 1 month. Performance for financial stocks in 1 month. So the financial stocks are always the one driving the market usually when you put them together. And the market capitalization had increased to 178.8 billion.
Okay, so I'm looking at the numbers we started with. So January, Ghana Stock, the composite index was around 8,770.
Exactly.
And now we are seeing 9,006.
At the end of January. So that was about 2.7% increase.
Yeah. And then for the financial stocks index, we're seeing 4,647 at the beginning of January. And by the end, we're doing 4,932.
About 6% increase in performance. And the market capitalization increased from 172 billion at the start of the year to 178.8 billion by the end of January. And this was the amount of shares that were traded. 167 million shares were traded.
In just January?
In just January. That is 938%. Because 16 million was traded in January 2025. And in January 2026, 167.3 million. That is telling you the rally in the market.
That means that January, a lot of people came onto the market.
You weren't part, but a lot came.
I was part.
And the important thing to learn from this slide is that MTN Ghana alone accounted for more than 90% of all the volume traded in January alone.
Wow.
Yeah, MTN Ghana. Yeah, and the source of this data is the Ghana Stock Exchange report. It gives a monthly report on the performance of the stock of the Ghana Stock Exchange, and this is MTN alone, 90.46% of all volume traded.
Why did that happen?
Investors' focus was concentrated in MTN. Perhaps they had hints of its financial performance. Perhaps investors did their technical analysis and believed it was undervalued and that the value was going to go up. Many factors would explain that. And it's not just January. MTN was still the major driver in February. And I will not be surprised if it delivers in March. By Wednesday, Thursday next week, the report for March will be out. And the story would not be significantly different. MTN has always been the major player on the Ghana stock market. Although it is alone, and I mean, when you compare its performance to the financial stocks in terms of how it's driving the market, financial stocks, you know, they're a lot. So when you put them together, they perform better than MTN generally. But that is the major thing from here.
You said probably they had a hint that they were going to perform well. And indeed they have.
I mean, I don't know exactly what people consider.
They
have. Their profit is in billions of cedis. Wow. They have about 48% year on year.
You are a shareholder there.
Let's continue. Now, this volume translates into 704 million Ghana cedis value because some of the share prices are in pesos, some are in cedis, so you see there is a clear imbalance in there. And last year, January 2025, in terms of value, it was 108 million. So you can see over 549% increase when you compare year to year. or year on year.
Yeah.
That is what is actually happening in the stock market. And that's why we are saying the performance this year is something perhaps we've not witnessed before. Almost at the end of every trading day, it's like we are making history every day and we are breaking the records of the previous day.
Right.
And that is how the market is performing. This is the total number of transactions, 38,477, as against 7,593 in January 2025. This is the reality. I think we can proceed.
We can move on to the next slide. Wow, very interesting numbers. So we're looking at the February 2026 rally now. Let's move on to February and look at that particular rally now. You might take us through that one.
All right. So we come to February and we see a new milestone. In terms of the composite index, it has increased now to 12,869.
So January, by the end of January, it was 9,006.
Yes. So more than 46% increase between January and February. Yeah. Wow. A new milestone achieved.
And the financial stocks?
7,692.
4,932.
Exactly.
By the end of January.
Over 65%
increase. Wow.
The banks more than doubled. They are showing us something big. Market capitalization went up further.
From 178.8 billion.
That's a 63 billion Ghana cedis increase.
Wow.
63 billion Ghana cedis worth of money. Look at the volume. 201 million. It had increased.
Yes, from 167.3 million.
And in fact, when you compare it to 2025 February, which was 23 million, you see that.
That is
exactly. So this year is an interesting year. And so look at the value.
You call it bullish, right?
Oh yeah, of course. The market has been it's bearish, but generally the market has been bullish this year.
So far this year.
Yeah, so far this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. And then the value traded, I see 705.4 million.
That was in January.
Ghana cedis, yes.
By February, 989.1 million.
Wow.
Exactly.
And what is that? So 162 in February 2025. I see some 508%. What does that mean?
Between February 2025 and February 2026, the percentage change is 508% increase plus. Now look at the macro numbers and of course some financial matrix. Inflation, February 3.3%. As you allude to.
Just before you come to that, I see an average daily value. What is that?
I mean, per every day, this is the amount of money
that came. I mean, that for February, so that came onto the market.
49.5 million. Oh, I'll say one full star. Well, in the stock market, we don't only have retail investors. We also have institutional investors.
Right.
So there are big players in there, just like T-bill markets, we also have big players in there. So maybe sometimes we need to look beyond individuals getting into the market to look at institutions and as it were, big guys coming onto the market. Yeah, institutional investors are in there. So they may be accounting for this, not you and I.
I see. All right, so you're looking at the micro numbers.
So I was just showing you how inflation has changed year on year. In February 2025, inflation was 23.1%. February 2026, 3.3%. CD to dollar, February 2025, 15.53. 2026, 10.69. T-bill, 20.79%. T-bill is now doing 5.23%. You see, so these are, so this is a 91 day, and then the 364 day was 22.7, and now it's doing 9.76% at the end of February. So these are the realities on the market. These are the realities that we find, and it explains, it supports why what we see is there. So you see, investors are not earning as much, and so a lot of the rally is being translated into the stock market. And that is why we see this impressive performance.
Oh, I see. All right, Ima, let's move on. We'll have to move a little bit faster because I see that our time is fast spent. So where are the stocks now today? Where are the stocks? Let's talk about that. I want to know where we are now on the stock market, because I mean all these details are for January. What you said are for January and then February.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to March, where we stand now. And so, yes, let's switch to the next slide and look at that now, so that we can understand exactly where we've come from. I mean, we've understood where we've come from. Now we want to see where we have gotten to as a country, especially on the Ghana Stock Exchange. And you mentioned MTN and all of those ones in the previous months, right? And so let's look at that now. Hopefully we can get to understand exactly what has gone on there. All right. Yes.
Right.
So,
thank you. So let me just take it from yes. So
yeah.
We
So
can proceed.
let's proceed.
So this is MTN 4 cedi 20 pesos. That's at March 26. It was 5 cedis 90 pesos.
So 40 20
Do you know
in
when-
January.
Yes, in January. First.
That's how we started.
At the start of the
right.
year. Do you know when March 26, like which day it was?
Yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you invested in MTN alone at the start of the year, your performance or your returns would have been at least 40%.
40%. Wow.
The GCB you wanted.
But it went higher than that at some point, even.
Of course. The stock market is like a lifeline. The stock market is not linear.
Okay.
You know, when you go to the hospital, you see the thing.
Beep,
Exactly.
and then it's moving. Like
I don't know why people think the market should just be going. I mean, the stock market does not behave that way.
Right.
The stock prices take a random walk, as we call it.
Okay.
And so you really don't know where the next step is going to land.
Right.
And so I see people, when the price comes down and they are just selling. No, relax.
What takes the price up or down?
Many factors. We'll come to that.
Okay.
Right now, let me just explain what we are having here.
All right, sure.
So look at GCB. Let me take your story. If you had invested successfully on the 1st of January, you would have made more than 100% returns on your investments.
Because it was 20 cedis,
Yes.
11 pesos.
Exactly.
And now we are doing 41.
Yeah.
Even when I bought it, okay, let me know if
You've made some gains.
No,
I know
haven't
that's
made
what
any
you want
gain,
to
please.
say.
I haven't made any gain because
See, Standard Chartered Bank started
I
the
could
year
have
with
bought it
29.
when so actually placed the order in January.
Ooh.
And I didn't get.
And it was executed when? In February.
It
End of
wasn't
February.
even, no, they canceled the order and I had to
Yeah, of course,
order
after
again.
31 days. Yeah.
Yes,
I
I
get
had
that.
to order again.
Yeah, so see Standard Chartered Bank, 29 cedis, 71 over 144%.
Wow.
That is not my big player. My big player is still to come. I'll talk about it. Let me focus on Access Bank here. 16 cedis, 46, 187% returns.
So 16 cedis in January.
Yeah, 1st January.
1st January, and then by
Yesterday,
46
46.61.
cedis.
Now, let's take this guy,
Which guy is that?
Republic Bank.
Okay.
1 cedi 30 pesos to 5 cedi 35 pesos, 311%.
I don't have stocks there.
That's I'm not saying go and have stocks there. In fact, let's even take EcoBank Transnational Incorporation.
Yeah, ETI, 77
77 pesos, 1 cedi 80 pesos, 133.
Wow.
Let's take Enterprise. So are you seeing that all the big percentages are financial stocks?
Yes. ETI, Republic Bank, Access Bank.
Look at Enterprise Group. 30 cedis, 48, 12 cedis, 244%.
Wow.
SIC. I'm sure you saw an article written about SIC that if you invested 100,000, you would have got this.
Yes.
It's because of this, 191%. And even these numbers have fallen, I must tell you.
Yes.
By the first week of March, these rates were higher. But the second and third week brought a lot of shege into the market, and that is why we are seeing all these. And of course, there are some stocks that they remain the same. They never change. They are there.
Ancient of this.
They are not ancient of this. I think we can proceed to the next slide. I'm sure you see.
But I'm seeing a very interesting. Let's go back to the previous slide.
Okay.
Let's go back to that. Yeah, why did agricultural development?
Well,
Bank
I don't even want to talk about it because it has been suspended now on the stock market due to some failure to meet some compliance issues and all of that. So I don't want to really.
They did negative, you know.
Oh,
so
it's very marginal.
when everybody was going up, they were coming down.
Of course, have you seen Total Energies? Like Total, the one people buy into their car.
They say Total.
Total, okay. Anyway, yeah.
Okay, let's move to the next slide. Let's look at that. But let me once again announce that we are live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. We're doing a presentation this morning. Emmanuel Boating, our in-house economic analyst, is doing a presentation on exactly what has happened on the stock market. And of course, that should help you if you already invest in the markets. Then you have to follow this conversation so that you can exactly see what has gone on so far. We get to ask certain questions, and it can give you some insight into what you have to do or the next steps you have to take on the Ghana Stock Exchange. And so please come on Facebook. We're at ZFMGH, and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Come and watch exactly. Come and see the numbers. On radio, you might only be hearing us, but when you come online, you see exactly what is happening. So please come there. But if you also want to send us a WhatsApp, feel free. 0544-321019, 0544-321019. If you have any questions, you can send them to that number, and I'll read them for you. And also, Emmanuel gets to answer them. Let's move on. So you were talking about Total. I'm seeing Total there now. As at January 1, 1st January, Total a share was 40 cedis, 30 pesos. And by March, which is yesterday, March 26th, yesterday, it was at 36.
So it is dipping. I mean, if you have investment in the...
I'm curious, did it go up at some point?
Of course, it did.
Okay.
It did go up.
Right.
And so that's why I'm saying that the market is not linear. It keeps going up and down and all of that. That's what I'm saying. The most important thing is how long you stay invested in the market and not really the timing. If you are in there to invest, it's like the weight of time you spend in there is more significant than, because you may not always get the timing right.
Yeah.
But you know that so long as you stay there for a long time, it's a long-term market. You certainly make your gains. Look at farm milk, 66%. Guinness Ghana, some guys say they don't take alcohol. Then I tell them to invest in the malt part, 141%. Look at Goyle.
Now, what that means is that anytime, if you have stocks there, anytime somebody buys farm milk, you earn something small.
Not necessarily. It's theoretical.
Okay.
It's theoretical. All these gains, until you sell your stocks, you don't make them. We call it unrealized income.
Okay.
You realize it when you sell your stocks. So at the point where you've not sold it, it's unrealized. It's theoretical gain. It is on paper.
Right.
It's not yet. It's not
on your pocket yet.
It's on the Momo account.
Okay.
We like that Momo message. When it comes, you are just in the spirit. And look at, so I wanted to see Goyle and Total side by side. See Goyle, 165%. I'm not saying go and buy Goyle fuel if you've been using Total. I'm just comparing. But of course, look at their prices. Even at 7.8, it's still lesser than what Total is going in for. Right. So there are so many differences. And look at the Benz Oil Palm Plantation, the only Ghanaian stock company trading at 100 Ghana cedis. The rest are all below 100. Benz Oil Palm Plantation, 79.1%. I know you don't have stocks there. Don't worry.
No,
perhaps you do. we never know. Now look at those not changing. Anglo Gold Ashanti Gold Corporation. This is ADDS Limited. This is Talo Oil Limited. This is Camelot Ghana. HORTS, HORTS Limited. It's on the Ghana Alternatives Exchange. So these are, so I told you 480, the ETF, 546, 13%, 115, Clydestone. It started from 46 pesos, 99 pesos now. So generally, this is how the individual companies have performed.
Why didn't Ashanti Gold and Anglo Gold, Ashanti and Asante Gold Corporation change?
There has been no trade since the start of the year till now. You are still driving me into the question of what drives the prices. Yes. Is the buying and selling.
So we'll get there.
Yeah, of course. Okay. But there's a secondary market. So buying and selling is what drives the price sometimes, in addition to the sentiment, in addition to the financial performance of the organizations themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, so many of these things play a role.
Financial performance, sentiment.
Yes, sentiment, trade, buying and selling.
Okay.
The volume. Sometimes 2 million people are selling the shares. Nobody is willing to buy. Certainly, it's going to drag it down.
Oh, okay. So that more people can be
the demand and supply works everywhere.
Right. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Total Energies. So in January they were selling at 40 cedis.
So this is a good time to go and buy.
Because I'm back from Kakra.
Let's
But
anchor.
maybe go down.
I mean,
Alright. Okay, but I'm curious.
You know.
What makes Total sell at 40 cedis and Goil at 2 cedis?
It's value and of course, so companies issue. So there is an IPO. I'm not too sure you're aware of. It's an oil company. The IPO end on the 30th of March, which is Monday. And so if you are interested in investing in that oil company, you can be a part of it. It's Zen Petroleum Holdings PLC. They are having their national public offering
Wow.
this week. Yeah, they are issuing, how many shares are they even issuing? A share, I think one is going for 5 cedis. They are issuing some huge amount of shares. Yeah, I've forgotten. Yeah, one is for 5 cedis. So that when you are doing your initial public offering, the IPO is initial public offering. So number of shares you want to float, you know, that is offered for sale. Now, once the original people, we get hold of those shares and it comes to the secondary market, that is where trade happens. So when you want to buy, unless another person having the share is willing to sell, it doesn't move hands.
Yeah.
So that's what generally happens. Do you get it?
Right.
So, yeah. So that's how the market works. Now, if we form a company today and decide to float 1 million shares, so we've divided the value of our company into small bits of 1 million slice of pizza, for instance. So that we will say, okay, you see they start at 5. Someone start at 10 pesos, someone start at 50. When MTN was doing it in IPO in 2019, it was 75 pesos per share. So if you had invested in MTN at the time, today that is trading at 90 something pesos, you really can tell what your returns would have been between 2019 and 2026.
Right.
So that's generally
so
what
we've seen exactly what has happened.
Let's make
so
progress.
what if you had invested at that time? I mean,
MTN's
when
IPO.
MTN and all of that.
So let me just
not
conclude
just
that.
MTN. I mean,
Okay.
all the stocks. So let's move on to the next slide, so that you can speak to that. No, the next one. Yes. What if you had invested? So you might speak to this one.
Yeah, so I was doing scenario analysis.
Okay.
But well, if you had invested in MTN in 2019, your returns would have been 555% by now.
In 2019.
Yeah, 555% over 5 years. Over how many years? 7 years, almost 7. Yeah, but that's cool. Divide it by.
I invested in 2018, and so
MTN.
yes, MTN.
MTN was the IPO was in 2019.
So I placed the order in 2018. I don't know. I think it was December or something.
Oh yes,
when they started
well,
announcing it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so you started from there.
October, I think. It was
Your
October.
annual average would have been 79% per year performance. Now, if we invested 1,000 cedis at the start of the year in MTN Ghana, when it was trading for 4 cedi 20 pesos, you see, our returns by now will be 1,405 today. This is what we'll have. If we invested 5,000, we would have had 7,024. If we invested 10,000, 14,000. So your gain is just as equivalent to the year-to-date performance.
101.9
Let's take a
FM.
more interesting company. I think the biggest I see here is this 34,000. Wow. Enterprise Group. If you had invested 1,000, you make 3,448. So you can just see what is going to happen. If you had invested in, say, ETI, 2,000. So you can see that there are varying degrees of interest on each of the companies if you had invested in it. And I want our audience, listeners and viewers to note that we are not giving a financial advice that go invest in these companies. It's for information purposes only.
Very
so
important.
that we can see. I just want you, and the past returns, like what we are seeing here, does not guarantee future performance. You must always note that. 105, 134, 192 CSIC. If you had invested 1,000, by now, if you invested 10,000, you have 19,000, almost,
Wow.
almost doubling what you had invested. You know.
It's double. There's even beyond more than that.
No, so 10,000.
10,000.
Hey, sorry, almost triple.
Yes,
Sorry, almost
triple,
triple. So if you had invested 100,000, you would have had 91,770. You had invested 1 million. So that's how it works.
So MTN. Okay, so MTN would have made you only 405 cedis.
That is if you invested 1,000 Ghana.
cedis.
But if you invested 10,000, 4,000. 4,048. And so you note the higher money you invest, the higher, because your exposure is high, so it plays out there. Yeah. I mean, I just used.
So I'm looking at.
I just used, my colleagues and friends are levels of income. So I mean, this is for everyone to appreciate, because not everyone will have these amounts of money to invest. People invest as low as 100 Ghana cedis and all of that. You don't really need everything in the world to invest.
Right. So year to date, Guinness Ghana, SIC. We can also talk about
Enterprise.
Goel.
No, look at Enterprise. Hey. That's the biggest.
Charlie. Okay.
Let's move on. I know where you're going.
What are they selling at now? 12 cedis.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's asking for himself.
Let's move to the next slide. Our time is almost up, and we have to go.
Let's move on.
Let's move a little bit faster. I think we have some more slides to go.
I don't know why it's not moving. Yeah, so I need us to understand the market, especially given what has happened so far.
Okay.
The market can be bullish sometimes, and it can be very bearish sometimes. When the market is bullish, you see strong performance across almost every stock. You see the prices rising over time. You saw that between January and the first week of March. That was highly there. You see high trading volumes when the market is very bullish. See, 80% between January and March, the first week of March, that was what was happening. It was driven by falling inflation, low T-bill yields, and so the investors in there were moving to the stock market, stronger CD performance. And what do you do when the market is bullish? Stay invested. Reinvest your dividends.
Right.
Don't really cash out at the time.
Okay.
Bearish market situation. That's what we are experiencing now. I know people who are losing so much every day, so much. But stay cool, talanku. Don't rush anywhere. You see the prices falling. So it's the exact opposite. It's the exact opposite. Right. There is fear, uncertainty, a lot of panic. People are just scared. People are calling you here and there. Bro, what do I do? Are you also experiencing what I'm experiencing? I mean, whoa.
We are in this
Should
together.
we all be sick together? Yeah, but that is the whole point. And you can see, between 2 days, just March 25 and 26, 5.7% decline in just 2 days.
This is in the whole of the market.
Yes, the whole of the market. Just 2 days. This is very significant.
5.7%.
Extremely significant. 2 days. And
what made
the sell-off? The sell-off is going on.
Is it that people know certain things I don't know?
No, the sell-off is not because they know certain. Needs to be imagined.
But people will sell off when they see that maybe they know that something is going to happen. That
not necessarily. Not necessarily.
That's
so
one of the
let's take
reasons.
a situation. We invested 100,000 cedis in 2020, and we have gained 500% so far. We've made so much money. We can decide to sell
it.
Like everything actually. And wait, when the price drops, then we come back and buy again. We have made our money and we've moved on. So it's not necessarily because they have an idea that things are going to be bad. Not necessarily. Charlie, I've made my money. So what you're looking for, you've
had it. Yeah, exactly.
And it can help me build a certain 2-bedroom house or something. I have gained everything I want. Now let me pull it, because I remember on the stock market you only make your money when you sell your shares. If you don't sell your shares, you don't make your money. So people are just selling. They've made their gains. They feel like, see, we've peaked. Let's sell before it starts falling. Because if it starts falling, you didn't sell earlier, now you'll be in trouble. You will not get as much. Exactly. So that's typically what is happening. I think we can move on.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a correction. It's normal in the market. I just want our viewers and anyone listening to us, don't panic when you see that stock prices are falling. No, it's good. It's good. And yes, this is why I want to talk about the dating and marriage thing. There's a difference between trading on the market and investing. When you are an investor in the stock market, you look for long-term capital appreciation.
Okay.
Long-term. That's why. So if you know why you are entering into the stock market, are you in the stock market to invest, or you are in the stock market to trade? If you want to trade, I will not even advise you to come to the Ghana Stock Exchange, because it's not as liquid. Sometimes when you place an order, it can take up to 3 days, before, 1 week, some people 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Some people get frustrated and all. I know some markets, you place the order, it's a matter of seconds, and you are gone.
You're gone.
So those markets are good for trading. And in fact, real-time data isn't moving. Those who trade, they are always monitoring the movement. And then they know, I know one guy, he's down there. He's just monitoring the lines, He's trading. And that is a different strategy from investing. When you invest and it's long-term, you don't really bother about some of these fluctuations. There's a story about the bamboo tree and the cocoyam tree. When they all started growing, the cocoyam sprouted early and it produced its yield. And it was asking, long time you've not still come out of the ground. The bamboo tree came out after about 5 years. And it went so high. And the cocoyam was like, why are you going too high? I said, I knew how high I wanted to go, so I took time to build my roots. And that is exactly what you must do when you are investing in the stock market. It is building long-term wealth through ownership. It takes years to decades. When you go to the United States, this is what some guys put in their will and hand over to their children and their children's children. $5 million worth. If you invested in 1990 up until now, you would have been damn toasted. And that is a good inheritance. That can make you Ghana's richest man. Maybe someday we'll try and get into those who are holding significant shares in the Ghana stock, and you will see the amount of money they have in the Ghana stock market. They are the shock movers. Now, your risk level is lower because over time the volatility smooths out. Right. You get dividend, capital appreciation. Of course, if it is a dividend-paying stock, then you look at. I think
that's what's very important to highlight. Yeah. That's not every stock actually pays dividends.
No, not every stock. Yes. Not every stock. Not every stock.
I know MTN does.
MTN does.
I'm not too sure of the other ones.
Oh no, I can give you a number of them. That pay stocks. Right. I mean, towards the end, just remind me. I'll come back to it. Now, when you are trading, you want profit in a short time. So that is the strategy. You are looking at days. In fact, sometimes you are looking at hours.
So you invested now, and they think
there's a guy. His name is
5.9 as of yesterday.
So no. Sometimes between the day.
I'm just giving a scenario. So somebody invested yesterday as a 5.9. They invested. The order went through and everything. Then today maybe they check and it's 6.4. They want to pull out. That is
exactly.
Trading.
What trading means. Okay. Sometimes that one cries too long. There is intraday trading. Okay. That's the serious one. MTN can start the day at say 7 cedis and it will end the day at 5 cedi 20 pesos.
So some people also monitor when it happens.
Exactly, he will sell it and then he will come back and buy it when it falls.
Okay.
All that happens. And so trading is different from investing. If you are trading and the market is behaving that way, that is when you have every right to cry. But if you are an investor, please don't cry.
Don't panic.
Don't cry at all. I think we can.
Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Our time is up already. We'll touch on.
So why do some orders stay pending? These are some of the questions we get a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes the orders are pending. Why? Because you want to buy at a certain price and the sellers want to sell at a different price until there is a perfect match. It's not a dating app, but until you find a perfect match, the order will not go through.
Okay.
So the variation in orders and bids actually makes your order stand pending. Now, brokers can also delay the processing. So you must understand what broker you are using and what their typical trajectory is. That understanding is very, very, very important. So that is also the other thing. Low liquidity. If nobody is willing to sell and all of that, if the liquidity level is low, your order can be there. There are some. You see, I've stated some of the stocks. Liquidity is very, very low. You can buy today, and after 10 years, your order will still be there. Of course, your broker would have cancelled and sent your money back to you. And then there is limited market order, and that also helps that. And then there are suspended stocks, PBC, Aluex, Agriculture what's the name? ADB and the rest of them. These are all, So always agree with your broker on the order type and the price strategy before placing the order. And always check if the stock you want to buy, there is liquidity available before you place the order. Otherwise, you would have thought you have placed an order waiting for the order to be executed in seconds, and still it would not be in. I think we can proceed.
All right,
very quickly.
let's move on. I think we have just about 2 or 3 more slides.
Now, what are your benefits of investing in the Ghana stock market? Your capital will grow, to grow significantly, to grow. Look at GCB from 20 to over 40. Look at Republic from 1 cedi 30 pesos to 5 cedi 35 pesos. So it's real. These are not, as it were, fictional stories you are telling. These are things happening. You can receive dividend. AngloGold Ashanti. AngloGold Ashanti, they even pay their dividend. I know, yeah, in dollars or so. You can receive real dividend from them. You can beat inflation because the inflation rate is usually lower than the returns on the market. You know, you don't need much to get into the stock market. You don't need 10,000. You don't need 50,000. With as low as 100 Ghana cedis, you can enter into the stock market. But look at the risk. It's very important for you. It's a market of volatility. See, the market lost 44 billion Ghana cedis in just 2 days, 25th and 26th March. The market lost 44 billion Ghana cedis. You are not alone. Don't be afraid. It's part of the characteristic of the market. Prices can fall as fast and they can rise as fast as well. Sometimes faster than you ever thought. Sometimes you are just surprised how your stock is just going up and up. You need patience. That virtue is very important to stay invested in this market. Note that not every stock is liquid. Some are very liquid. And liquidity means available cash, available shares for trading and all of that. And note, returns are not guaranteed. This is not a fixed income market. If you want guaranteed returns, like if I invest in GCB, will I get 20% at the end of the year? This is not the market for you. Go to the bond market. Go to the T-bill market, where you are told you earn 4% per year for 91-day bill, where you are told you earn 5.5% per year, 482-day bill. You earn 8% per year for 364-day bill. Go to the bond market, where they will tell you 15% on this bond for 3 years. That is a fixed income market. This is not a fixed income market. Right. If you want to come here, you need a hat of a lion. You need a hat of an investor. And therefore, patience is required. It's a key requirement here. See, the greatest risk of all is not investing. That is the greatest risk. You know, as we are speaking, somebody say, if I knew how I should have invested, you know, in January, I should have invested last year. So what was I doing all this while? As I'm speaking, they will still not invest today. And we'll come back again, maybe in June or maybe in I've even forgotten the month. So after March, where do we go to?
Go to April.
We'll come back in April. We'll come back in May, and they'll still be saying the same thing. The best thing is for you to invest now. If truly you have money looking for long-term capital appreciation. Because the money you keep under your pillow, you keep in your savings account, inflation will be eating it up very soon. I have some few slides and then I'm done.
All right. So I think 2 more slides. And
two more, yeah. So yes. I think I'm done.
Let's look at the next slide. I think
because I said the guy has been trading, he's not moving my slides.
All right. So let's look at the licensed brokers and how to start investing. So, I mean, you are telling people to invest now. So you need to tell us how to go about it. And so take us through that as well. Let us understand exactly how to buy. I know that you need a broker to be able to trade on the stock market. You can't just walk to MTN or Tigo or that's it, Tigo. MTN or Goel or any of the listed companies and just tell them you want to invest. You'd have to do that with a broker. Somebody who's like a middleman that you have to do the business with.
So we have IC Securities. I mean, so there are so many brokers, but I just highlighted 5. IC Securities, SBG Securities, SIC Brokerage Firm, Blackstar Brokerage, DataBank Brokerage, and look at the value traded by these brokers on the stock market. So this is the point. The Ghana Stock Exchange does not deal with mere mortals like you and I directly.
Right.
They deal with us through the brokers. So it's like this are middlemen. The same way Bank of Ghana does not deal with you and I directly. They deal with us through the commercial banks.
Yeah.
So they have license to trade on our behalf on the stock market. So I know some who invest through IC Securities. So these are the brokers you invest through. They are brokerage firms, you know. So when you look at it, IC Securities is accounting for about 61% of all trades.
Wow.
That is happening between January and February this year. SBG 7%, SIC 6%, Blackstar 6%, DataBank 5%. So, I mean, they together about 87% of all market activity.
Right.
Yeah. And go on www.gse.com.gh, www.Security and Exchange Commission, so sec.gov.gh. This website will help you know who is truly licensed to deal with, so that you don't go and fall in the hands of, you know, And how do you start to invest? Maybe at the heart of it, you choose a broker, decide. Your choice should not just be based on this, not necessarily not this. I mean, Blackstar, IC, they all give you good. So just understand how they go about their stuff. Now, open a CSD account, you know. Your broker opens your CSD account. IC does that. Blackstar does not use an SD account.
What's a CSD account?
CSD is Central Securities Depository. So I think we spoke about it earlier. Now, that is more or less like the evidence that this is IMA trading on the Ghana Stock Exchange. You know, if you've bought T-bill before, you know what this account is about.
Right.
It's the same thing. You can use the same thing on even the IC Wealth app. It works.
Yes.
Yeah, it does work. So that is it. But I was saying Blackstar doesn't use a CSD account, so you don't even need to. They operate through a custodian account with First Atlantic Bank.
Okay.
So you can also work that way. For them, it doesn't really take long. You can start investing. Then fund your account. Get some cash, Momo it through your bank, through your Visa card. It can be done. Once you fund your account, do your research and you place your order. Research, I mean, do your technical analysis, fundamental analysis, know whether or not the stocks have been overvalued or undervalued. Because the truth is that not all the prices you are seeing there is worth the company. Some are way below the value of the company. Some are way higher than the value of the company. Give it time. They will fall or they will rise.
Okay.
So when you do your research, now you know what to buy. What do you buy? You buy an undervalued company because you know that it is undervalued. Give it time and it will rise to its full potential. And you know a rise in price is a rise in your return on the market. Now you monitor and you grow your fund. Just be putting something there bit by bit, and over time you'll just be there. I have my last slide, and then I think.
Okay, so yes, let's wrap up. Yes, with the last slide. So in summary, what have we said?
Yeah,
that is exactly.
This is in summary. We are at an all-time high, 15,868 units as at the close of yesterday, which is about 55% performance of the Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index. Our market capitalization has grown from 172 billion to 255 billion in just two months or 3 months. Yeah. We've seen 83 billion Ghana cedis in just 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, additional. We have become Africa's #1 best performing major stock market in 2026. We've seen a market correction. And it is healthy for consolidation. It's not the end of the rally. It's not the end of the road. Market correction is okay. Sometimes you don't score everything in your exams. You make some mistakes and you learn from it. The stock market is not a linear, progressive graph. It is a volatility market. It's a market that rewards you for staying longer in there. Don't panic when there is correction. Accept correction and move on in life. It's the same thing. You must approach this. Now, look at the top year-to-date performers, top big guys. Republic Bank, Enterprise Group, SIC Insurance, Access Bank, GOIL. These are the big guys. Look at the percentages they are dropping. 312, 245, 192, 188, 165. If you don't see your stock here, it doesn't mean they are not performing well. They are not part of the top 5. This is the top 5. This is Prempe, Presec, Botre, and we are not talking about everyone. We are just focusing on the, the real deal. If I didn't mention your school, apologies to you. It's not personal. I'm just highlighting the top ones. Yeah. Inflation is at 3.3%. The CD is strong. T-bills are trading or are selling for about 5 to 9%. And we are seeing that the fundamentals in the Ghanaian economy currently support investing in the equity market. And what we are saying in the end is that we are not giving you a financial advice. This is for information and educational purposes, and that is exactly what we've done today. Always consult a licensed investment personnel for advice. Consult the right and licensed broker for you to trade on the market. Until we come your way again the next time, I've been here with you, taking you through all of this and helping you manage your emotions on the Ghana stock market. I'll meet you again sometime next month.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Boateng. Really grateful that you came. I think it's been a very good conversation and a very good breakdown of exactly what happens on the stock exchange, and he's actually taken his time to let us understand. If you miss any part of this interview or presentation, you can visit our social media platforms. We're on Facebook at ZFMGH and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. You can visit those platforms, visit and go and play it back so that you can understand exactly the Ghana Stock Exchange and what happens there, how you can invest and all of that. All of those things have been highlighted in the conversation this morning. All right. So, Ima, thank you very much once again for coming and for sharing all of that with us. And thank you too for listening up until now. We're going to get into our roundtable discussion. And like I told you, today we're talking about kidney disease. It is, according to stats, over 4 million Ghanaians, yes, knowingly or unknowingly, are carrying kidney diseases.